This is Black Radio. This is Black Radio, media for the 21st century. Hamzamo familia, welcome to the Black Network 54 Correspondence show. I hope that you are doing fantastic on the 3rd day of August, the year 2021. My name is Spikes, and in case you're joining us for the very first time, this is a broadcast where we get to discuss different issues taking place on the continent of Africa, whether it be social, economic matters, political issues, business, sports, entertainment, and all these particular things that have to do with us as the African people on the African continent and even in the diaspora. And of course, I would like to add this before even we kickstart this particular episode to check us out on our official website, which is www.black.firenetwork.com. And we also do have interactive platforms on Twitter, Black Fire, and also on Facebook, Black Fire Network Radio Station, as well as also on Instagram, Black Fire Network. If you would like to also shoot us an email, feel free to do so. You can write to us at black.fireafrica@gmail.com. Once again, it's black.fireafrica@gmail.com. And of course, you can let us know if you do have any questions or queries or comments or even suggestions. We are very, very much open to that. And we would be glad to hear from you regarding different issues that you also get to discuss right here on the 54 Correspondence show. And of course, being on a Tuesday, today we shall be looking into African history. But before we go into that, we shall also be updating us on what is going around the continent of what's going on around the continent of Africa. We shall be highlighting a few current affairs and also some that has to do with the African history of West African nations. And like I said, you can get a hold of us on our social media platforms, and it's always a delight when we get to hear from you. I actually happened to see one of our sisters on the Black Network on our Twitter, and it has been a minute since I saw the handy. It's been like almost like a year, I bet, almost like a year, or maybe about 10 months since I saw Sister Handy. But it's always a delight when you get to really also link up and connect on Twitter as well, and get to share different information or different share information on different matters that some of them pertaining to like you said, social, economic, and political affairs, as well as other issues of life with the Black Fire Network family. We are also very, very much interactive and engaging on our WhatsApp group. We do have a WhatsApp group, which is a Black Fire Network WhatsApp group. And eventually, I think we are looking forward also to having a Telegram, because the Telegram might be able to accommodate more people than just a few that are limited to WhatsApp. So very, very soon, we shall also be creating a Telegram channel. If anyone would like to join that, And of course, even the files, it's easier to share bigger files on Telegram compared to WhatsApp. But nonetheless, we are hoping that we can be on more platforms, so that if you're not on Telegram, you can still find us on WhatsApp. If you're not on WhatsApp, you can still find us on other different platforms, and also get to engage with us in regards to different matters. I do see Samuel. You saying it has been a long time since I saw Handy. Yes, I'm talking about the sister Handy Fan with. I saw her on our Twitter yesterday, and I was just wondering, where did this sister disappear off to? I hope that she is doing well, and I do bet that she also gets to check out some of these particular broadcasts that we do, and that everything is well for her as well. Someone, how is it going so far? I hope that everything is well in Clarendon, Jamaica. And you were talking sometimes about getting into farming. I am not sure how that particular one is coming along, or whether you have started up those farming projects, or the agri-business projects that you had hinted or talked about. We would love to know how they are going, and we would also like to invite you one day on the show to join us on the 54 Correspondence, so that you can be our eyes on the ground in Clarendon, Jamaica. Personally, I would like to go to the Caribbean. I've never been to the Caribbean. I do hope that if opportunity presents itself, I will actually be working towards getting that opportunity, and creating that opportunity also to get you to the Caribbean one time. It will it be interesting to just go see maybe Jamaica and Haiti. Those are two countries maybe I would like to go see how they are doing, and how they are faring with regards to different matters, either be it agriculture, either be it tourism, and also the hospitality of the people. I understand that the people of Jamaica, we are the same. People talk about African hospitality being the best, but I also do believe if you go to Caribbean, go to Haiti, or go to Jamaica, you will be received well, and people will really just treat you with the family love, which is really, really wonderful. But nonetheless, like I said, Samuel, one day we would like to, we can link once you're ready. Yes, that would be wonderful. We would like to have you on a show sometime, and just let us know how things are going on. There were some things, of course, that we shall be discussing today, and these has to do, like I said, with socio-economic matters, as well as political affairs on the continent of Africa. First and foremost, I want to take us all the way to Southern Africa. And this month, the month of August, is a month that the people of Zimbabwe have been anticipating for a very, very long time, because they are expected to go into the polls later this month. And there has been some sort of instability in Zambia, because the government has resorted, or the president himself, who is Edgar Lungu, he has resorted to really sending out the military to go and calm some of the protests that have been taking place in Zambia before the elections. You realize that every other African, most of the African countries, when it nears election time, there is a lot of turmoil and chaos and pandemonium in these countries. But there has been some warning signs ahead of this Zambian election, in the background of the current Zambian election cycle. Of course, the environment is really not so much conducive and also peaceful, because there has been a matter of some protest, and also the opposition coming out and are really saying that they do not believe in the system, or they do not believe in the fairness and the freeness and the fairness of these elections. Of course, the stage is being set for the elections, and there is a case of a democratic decline, because the government has been using force, and it has actually sent out some soldiers to go and manage the situation on the ground. So we are looking forward in seeing if at all there will be the free and fair election, the free and fair election in the country at the end of the day. And we are hoping that the people of Zambia, I know we do not have democracy. If you're talking about democracy, you do find that this is really just an ideal. And I was saying, if you compare, for example, on the continent of Africa, you will realize that many countries on the continent, there is always that matter of the political crisis, and even people getting into fighting and civil wars when it nears elections. You will find that, for example, in Kenya in 2012, there was a post-election balance. If you go to a place, other different countries, you'll find people, the opposition are really gathering or bringing together its people, and then the incumbent, and then there is a crash between these two, and lots of lives are lost. The same also did happen in Ivory Coast in 2010, when there was the incoming president, Alassane Ouattara, taking over or really winning in that particular election, and the former president, who was Laurent Gbagbo, was refusing to vacate. Laurent Gbagbo decided that his election, the election was really also not free, but he was incumbent leader. But of course, that story is almost being put behind because the two of them have met. And the problem is when these two leaders like these, the incumbent and maybe the opposition, when there is a crash, and the results of the elections are contested, you find that people on the ground are the ones fighting. These leaders will not be there fighting. For example, Laurent Gbagbo and Alassane Ouattara, the presidents, the former president and the incumbent president. Now they are friends. They are back again, and they now have an agreement, and they are hoping to work together in future. But about 3,000 people lost their lives in the post-election violence in Ivory Coast in 2010. But right now, you realize it's the people fighting on the ground, and also sometimes you realize it's the forces, the military, the army being used to conduct some of these killings when they are sent out to go and sort of quote unquote calm down the protest. But I do believe in Zambia, people will not take the same direction because it's not worth it. People losing their lives over just an election. Even this election, you realize that at the end of the day, there is not real democracy. Democracy is just a matter. It's like has been just a matter of put on paper. But in reality, when you talk about democracy, especially on the continent of Africa, you do find that that is actually one big flawed. That has to do. That is one big flawed with the matter of that. But nonetheless, I understand that we have a bit of a hit, of course, with our sound. Let me see, because we are also live on the radio. I'm just trying to check. If you can hear me on the radio, please do let me know. If you cannot hear me, I will also be trying to work on fixing these as well, because it's really, really also important that you are able to hear me clear, and we can be able to converse regarding different issues. We can be able to converse on different issues. But if you can hear me on the radio, please do let me know. And if not, I will try make it much better. I will try and make it a much better so that we can continue with the conversation. We can continue with the conversation. But nonetheless, I was saying that Zambia, yes, the elections are coming up this month, and we do have the incumbent president, Edgar Lungu. He is hoping to get another term. He is hoping to continue with his tenure, and of course that get another different tenure from the people of Zambia. I do have a couple of friends actually from Zambia. And someone like this, you saying let you meet some nice ladies. The thing I really actually I would like to come. The thing that draws me even more, apart from even meeting these nice ladies, the thing that also draws me a lot to Jamaica is also the thing that the music and the culture, the dancehall, the party scene. Let me just say the party scene, and also the music. The music really is really, really wonderful. And I do know, for example, I'm a big fan of Buju Banton, and I would just, if I ever did have a tour to Jamaica, and there was a Buju Banton concert, I am really sure I would turn up to that one. But of course, there are many other interesting things that I would like to go come and see in Jamaica, and music, I was saying, is one of those particular issues. But then again, going back to Zambia, it's very, very important that people are maintain peace, and also people are not duped into believing that they are not duped into believing that your life is worth it's worth losing your life over someone. This politician is not really, really worth, and people really of course need to understand that life is much more important than even having these leaders are being voted in. But nonetheless, I want to move away from that and I go into another different country, which is the Gambia. I do know that maybe some of us have interacted with stories and information from the Gambia. I have personally not been to the Gambia yet, but maybe sometimes I will be able to also go to Gambia. So far, I've been to 4 African countries, and all of them are wonderful. I've been to Uganda, I have been to Tanzania, I have been to Rwanda, and of course Kenya, which is my home country. But all these countries are wonderful. But I was saying also in West Africa, countries such as the Gambia, there's a lot of things happening. There has been a committee that was set up in the Gambia, and this committee was supposed to put forward a report regarding the matter of the reparations. And of course, what has been happening is that this particular commission is now set to is what's known as the Truth and Reconciliation, Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission, We have had these in several countries. Even in Kenya, we did have a Truth, Justice, and Reconciliation Commission, which was meant to go and look into some of these traditional challenges, not traditional challenges, but rather the endemic problems are facing the society when it comes to even tribal matters, when it comes to different communities getting at each other and fighting and killing. The results, of course, are being the killing of the people. So in Gambia, there was the setting up of a same kind of a commission, which is known as the Truth, Justice, and Reconciliation Commission. And of course, the handing over of the final report of the Truth, Reconciliation, and Reparations Commission has been postponed to September. Meanwhile, the commission has clarified what it spent in reparations up to now, and the budget that is still missing since it created the reparations fund. The TRRC has received about $1 million US dollars from the government. These were the part of the monies recovered from the sales of the leaders Yaya Jammeh's asset, although there were no further details are given. In the Gambia, there was this former president. He is known as Yaya Jammeh. And Yaya Jammeh is a leader who, of course, I've talked about Yaya Jammeh severally right here on the 54 Correspondence. And Yaya Jammeh is one of the leaders who, he was really idiotic. Let me just say he was an idiot. Because he actually came up with his own cure and his own program for HIV and AIDS. And then he put people involuntarily on these. People were forced to join these HIV and AIDS program by the president, who was Yaya Jammeh. And of course, there has been the listening recently. There was some hearings recently held, I believe, at the start of this year, which some of the victims that were put on these programs, and they were coerced to get onto these particular programs, the healing programs, quote unquote healing programs. People who are supposed to be put on medication and other different things. They were forced into this program. And people now, of course, they were due to be paid. They were due to be compensated because of all the psychological distress that they went through when they were put on these programs. He was saying that he had magical powers and God had given him the cure for HIV and AIDS. And people were also put through a lot of stress on these programs. Others were just forced into things that they didn't want even to do. And that was the kind of a president that we did have in the Gambia. And also the wife of this president was also another person who has looted a lot of money. And also the president himself, Jammeh, he did put this country in poverty instead of helping them again anything. But nonetheless, we shall be talking about some of the recommendations for these commission. Which of course is meant to make sure the families and the people, the victims of these cases, are actually getting sort of compensated. Welcome to the show, Keith. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I was talking briefly about how the elections are coming up in Zambia, and I was saying that Edgar Lungu might have another term because the Chinese will make sure that he does not vacate the office. They want to make sure that they are continuing to siphon more resources from Zambia. And because he is there and he has been facilitating the siphoning of these resources from the Gambia, I am very, very much sure that he might continue with another term. He might get another term in office because they want a puppet such like they want a such like puppet, someone who is able, someone who will allow them to go and take.
They're all puppets. You don't have an African leader on the continent. Every last African president is a puppet. Every last one of them. There is no African president who's independent of European or now Asian power, really still European power behind the throne. There are no leaders in Africa. They're all puppets. There's no such thing as an independent president in Africa. That's oxymoronic. It's funny. It's laughable. It's a joke. There are no leaders in Africa. People say, "Oh, the leader this. Oh, the leaders. What's wrong with our leaders?" They're not leaders. They're puppets. They're put in there by white people. Why the leadership is so bad? It's you know why it's so bad? Because it's meant to be bad. They're puppets. They're not there to serve you. They never were. And the white man didn't leave Africa 60 years ago to be poor. Shit, he didn't leave Africa to go back into poverty. He left Africa and pretend like he left. He never left. He wasn't going to leave Africa and go back and be poor. That's their history. Poverty. Not going to leave Africa and say, well, we'll leave these Negroes alone and we'll go back and be poor. Shit.
None of them will agree, especially the French. The French, when they were living, I remember they did destroy almost every other infrastructure
What
they
did the
had
French
set up.
tell you, Spike? The French said, if we ever leave Africa, we'll become a third world overnight. And that's true.
mm,
France doesn't, what does France have? Absolutely nothing. Everything they get comes from Africa. And the shit they steal from Africa, then they get $500 billion a year from
mm,
Africa.
mm,
That's the shit that they don't steal. They get that just by saying we're French and you sign some goofy contract. We're going to extract $500 billion a year in U.S. currency out of Africa every year, and then trillions of dollars that they steal.
mm.
White people don't
You
never
know,
have shit. Let's see. Okay, let's see. And but I don't like Indians. At least the Indians know. Okay,
mm.
pull this up. Like let's look at. Let's go to Google. How much money did the British Empire steal out of India while they colonized it?
Let me
It's
see.
astronomical.
Yeah.
How much money did the British Empire steal out of India while it was colonized? When they colonized it, it's in the trillions of dollars. A poor wretched ass Britain that was impoverished. They were look. They what happened with the British? They all these crackers learned from the Moors. They got a decent. They got the weapon, the gun, before everybody else did. They found since they're warmongers, they
They say it was 45 trillion, 45,
how
it's
about that,
45
Spike?
trillion.
45 trillion. Do
Yeah.
you think the British had $45 trillion? Of course not. Of
They
course not.
didn't.
It was a
Yeah.
poor, wretched, broke ass country. The only thing they
Mm,
did, they were smart enough to take the gun technology from the Moors and improve
mm,
on it. That's how they was able to go into countries and rob and steal and shit.
mm,
Britain was poor. France was poor. Spain was
mm,
poor. Germany was poor. And it's funny now they're the richest countries on the planet, and they don't want to sit on these security councils. They don't want to dictate shit to everybody because they
mm,
developed a gun
mm.
and was able to kill a bunch of people and steal their shit. The Indians didn't say, hey, British people, take $45 trillion from us. Please take all our
It was
money.
written by force. Like you always do say, power does not respect weakness. So
Exactly.
if you are actually there as an Indian and you are very weak, I think when there was these what was the name of that company? There's this company that actually did it, which is the East India Trade Company.
Yeah,
These are
you had the
yeah.
British East India and you had the Dutch East India. Because the Dutch went and colonized all of what you call Malaysia and Indonesia today.
Mm,
So you have white people from the Dutch all broke out and 500 years ago, impoverished, looking
mm,
for land, resources.
mm.
And now, guess what? They're rich. Guess what?
You
These poor, wretched ass crackers who were wretched and impoverished now have the money of India and Africa. And you think they're going to get that shit back? I think not.
it cannot be returned. But you can see the Indians hanging on this wagon. You can see the Indians, the two Indians hanging on
They were
this
the
wagon.
flunkies. They were
They,
flunkies. They were flunkies. They were flunkies. So, hey, the British said, hey, we're going to hit you in your mouth and take your money. Okay. Thank you, white daddy.
but of course, what they did, I don't know that they took them and they put them on the projects to construct the railway lines. For
With the
example,
smart, well, they shared the wealth with some of the Indians because that's how the
mm,
Indians got into Africa. The British brought
mm,
their ass in as a said we don't want to be close to these niggas. Let's bring these fucking Indians and we'll make them a merchant class over the
mm,
African. So there'll be a
mm,
go between us and the African. We don't even want to deal with these dirty niggas. We want to steal from him, but we don't want to deal with his ass. So we'll bring the Indians in. That's how the Indians got to Africa, and we'll use the Indian as an intermediary between the African. We'll keep the African impoverished, and we'll keep the Indian under us. And that's what happened. That's why in Africa you still got that's why you got the Indians all in Africa, all in Kenya, all in goddamn
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, all in everywhere, South Africa, every damn where. You got
They did set up shops selling items like sugar and selling other items from India.
yeah.
Even when conversations are going on. They're all
I
selling
was
a fabric.
laughing. I was laughing
Uh,
because I was seeing this other guy. Oh, because the Africans refuse to unite. This guy, what's the guy I was talking to some on some way? Like, he was a Kenyan dude. He's stupid. The Africans are different than us. These other Africans are different. I said, okay, they're different than you, huh? Stupid. Let me give you a quick history lesson, you dummy. You see, you practice tribalism and you're dumb. But let me
yeah.
help you out. You said the Southern Africans are different than you, right? You said they're different people. Yeah, they're different people. Okay, stupid. You know the country that they call East Eswatini or Swaziland? You said, yeah, I
Mm,
heard of it before. I said, you know those people are actually Kenyans. If you would say where they came from. It
mm,
was no Kenya back then. They came from what you would call Kenya today. So how they
mm,
different? Did you know that? He said, what? Those people came from Kenya? I said, yeah, dummy. The ones you call Eswatini today or Swaziland,
mm.
400, well, about 300 years ago, they came because there was no borders in Africa. Those people from Swaziland came out of Kenya, stupid. That's a fact. So the people you see in Eswatini, they're Kenyans, dummy. And you think
Mm.
they're different. They're Kenyans. But you don't know
Even
that. Go
even
ahead, Spike.
even even linguistically speaking, you will find the words are being shared. I have seen,
Of
for
course.
example, the words are from the Kamba community. You'll find them being the same words from some of these
Yes,
southern.
but see, but
the-
Spike, you're not a moron, Spike. So boy, you understand this and know the history of Africa, so you know this. you
Yeah.
know,
So it,
so
mm,
you can put things together. You understand? Yeah, they got to be related. The same fucking words. Yes.
mm.
How about that? Go ahead, Spike.
So yeah, you can also trace it linguistically, and actually it's a fact. So it's not really like a hearsay, like hearsay. It's really a fact. But nonetheless, I was just saying about a little bit about Zambia. I do not see the Chinese takeover of Zambia is bound to continue. We have been talking about the Zambians, the Chinese in Zambia, and how they have turned that country upside down. So I do see this continuing right now. Like I was saying, Zambia has deployed the army to curb the violence ahead of the elections. At least the people had
Yeah,
killed.
because they want that bootlicking coon out of there. They know they want to irrigate the whole country to the Chinese.
Mm.
And the Chinese with their propaganda. When you played that video, Spikes, oh, the Africans they praise their God that we're here. What? Africans can't stand you. They
The
want your
mayor,
ass out of here.
the mayor refuted that fact. The mayor, there was a mayor who said we don't like them and we don't even
Exactly. They
want.
know we don't like
Yeah,
them.
the
Said we
mayor
don't like
said,
their ass, and they know we don't like them. Exactly right.
yeah, but now the people want to get rid of him, but I don't think he will be leaving anytime soon because he has been franked by these the Chinese and the Europeans and everyone else. They want him there because he's a gatekeeper. You know, any other time that he wants to get his
They're gonna
they want to
like the
get their
revolution
bidding
Africans coming. They're gonna so who's ever left as a puppet, they're gonna be murdered in the streets, and they need to be them and their families.
They
They-
should
they-
be they should be done like what they did to that Haiti. What was the name of that Haiti liberator that they put out on the streets and murdered him in the streets? Even if it was not right for them to do that, there was, what do you call him? The one who was liberating Haiti that they
oh,
rejected and
are you talking about Dessalines? John
yeah, Dessalines,
John
they did it.
John Jacques
Yeah,
Dessalines.
yeah. They put him on the streets and December his body, and that is what needs to be done. But of course, that wasn't right because Dessalines was only for the people of Haiti.
And
But
Dessalines was freeing everybody, was freeing
right,
all the African people in the Caribbean. But hey, you didn't get rid of the mulattoes. The mulattoes are always 9 times out of 10 loyal to their white or Asian masters. And since the
mm,
African doesn't study history, doesn't realize, oh, they're all black. They're not all black. Once they miscegenate your ass,
mm,
these goofy Negroes always go with the whites or the Asians. That's why the Asians coming in trying to make all these goddamn bastard babies.
mm. And I see the brother Richard Campbell. Thank you so much for joining us. Using strength and unity, brothers are killing spikes strength and unity. Peace
Yeah,
to
see
you too.
what I'm saying? I wouldn't call him Spikes no moron no more. Funny. Spikes now knows how to connect the dots. He's now knowledgeable on Africa now. He can see that yes, these people were the same people. He can't, most of these South Africans, fuck them. fuck that. We're different. You're not different, stupid. You're the same
but
people. Spikes now
but
can. I'm just saying, Spikes now can connect the dots to linguistically. He can see, hey, there's a connection. These people were us at one time. He's able to see that African people moved throughout the colon
mm,
the continent freely. So that
mm.
you're one people. But go ahead, Spikes.
But I was just saying that there is the same kind of a divisive move where people are told, Africans of the continent and the Africans in the diaspora are not the same. We are different
Yeah.
people, and all these other nonsense. And people might fall for that, thinking, oh, the African on the continent is this and that. The African in the diaspora is this and that. The African in the Caribbean is this and that. Of course, they are different.
And the
They are
only, and like I
the
said, we're the
culture.
only people that do that. We're the only people that throw away our numbers. We're the only people that ate the European the Europeans say, you know what? The ones in Canada are different than the ones in Australia. The ones in Australia, they don't do that. When they go, they're like the ones in South Africa say, hey, you better not get these niggas back that land. You better let them white people rule. And who comes to help the South African whites? The American whites, the British
Mm,
whites, the French whites, all white people, the Australian whites. They don't say they don't. Only people that do that are black people. It's just crazy.
and and I think, yeah, we are the only people that are always trying to see our to project our differences. I was just saying, because of the time, the length of a period that you have been apart, that is why you will find cultural differences. But in terms of
Yes,
everything
that
else, everything
yeah.
else
It's just variations.
is
It's
similar. Sorry.
variations of the same culture. It's the same culture. There's variations through time and
Yeah,
distance. But it's the
yeah,
same culture. That's why you'll find a chief in fucking Kenya, in a Kenyan village, and you'll find a chief in Ghanaian village. You'll find a chief down in Cameroon village. You'll find a chief in Zimbabwe. You'll find a chief over in fucking South Africa. It's the same culture, you idiots. It just
yeah,
has variations because Africa's such a big continent. The variations of the culture were going to change.
yeah.
That's it. But it's the same culture. Go ahead, Spike.
Nothing really changes. It's just of course the culture changes because of how apart you are. People make develop new norms. New habits. And
Exactly.
habits now then are making to become into a culture. It makes you come up with a new kind of a culture. But nonetheless, our family. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I do see General Mosquito, Samuel, listening in from
Let me
Clarendon,
say this real
Jamaica.
quick with Spike, please. It says, have you noticed there's one cultural thing that stayed the norm with African people globally? And
Mm.
those are those goddamn drums. Those are those damn
The
drums.
drum and the way the
The
music is
music,
also played,
that's
people
what I'm talking
move
about.
the
The
rhythm.
music with the drums. I mean, the music, the
Yeah.
beats, the
Mm,
music.
mm,
That's one thing as African people, the music, African people, what musically inclined. You should be able to
mm,
see that. You should be able to say, "Wow, African." I don't care if you're on the continent, if you sit your ass in the Caribbean on an island, you sit your
mm,
ass in South America, out in
mm,
Brazil, Colombia.
mm,
All the music created on the planet came from African people. What you call Spanish and Caribbean music came from black people, no Caribbean and white people. Shit down in
mm,
South America. That's all black people music. All that music comes from African people. So just because now they say it in Spanish or they say it in French or they say it in English, it
mm.
still goes back to Mama Africa. Go ahead, Spike.
And these are things that are also does are connected. But nonetheless, our family. Today I want to talk about a special matter, which has to do with the matter of the story, the loot that has been done on the African continent. And this loot that I'm talking about is the looting of the Benin bronzes. And if you go back into history and look at how the European, when the
They,
European came on the
they
continent of
told you
Africa,
was
and
a
they
dirty
took
African. You didn't build it. I said, okay, why don't you get my Benin bronzes back? How can I make all this great art if I'm a dirty, no good, dirty African? Well, because we said so, and we're gonna keep all your shit, Spikes. Go ahead.
for the family. the family that might be wondering now what I'm talking about when I speak about the Benin bronzes. The Benin bronzes really like some artifacts that are stolen from Africa. And these includes thousands. They include the thousands of metal plaques and also sculptures that decorated the royal palaces of the kingdom of Benin, what is now the present day Nigeria. And of course, what they are saying, one of the excuses that is happening right now as to why these Benin bronzes cannot be returned from Africa, they are saying that there is now the matter of Biafra or the southern Nigeria trying to secede. So they are saying if this whole conflict continues, we do not know whether we should return them to the Nigerian government or we should tell them to this. That is the kind of a nonsense.
It's always a
About
crazy ass reason. Now,
and over
because Nigerians not getting along, the Nigerians not getting along, so we shouldn't give them back their shit because they're not getting. Well, they're not. They didn't get along with you. You conquered them and colonized them. So why should you get to keep their shit? It's crazy. And you're right, General Mosquito. They get on code against all these beasts get on code against us. And when I was young, I didn't understand that. I said, how they all get on code? They hate us so much. I know now, but they do right. They all get on code to keep us down. All of them.
So one of the most craziest things that I've had is that someone can steal your property, and then they will give you conditions as to how they should return your property, and also they are also
you know what? Hey, Spikes, that you just explained what happened to OJ on a global level. That what happened to OJ.
But also they will now tell you the terms. They want to loan you your property which they stole from you, which is now
Exactly. They want to loan you your shit, Spike.
They want to loan you your property so that you can be paying them money on a regular basis so that they can make money with your shit. And let me play this because this is how bad it is, and
that's how crazy it is, Spike.
This should actually be an act of war, because if anyone steals your property and then
it is an act of war. I'm glad it is an act of war. White people you're exactly right, Spike. That's an act of war. It's exactly what it is.
So what did happen is that the museum, the British were offering offers to loan the stolen Benin bronzes to Nigeria. So they were saying they would offer them on a loan basis, and then we loan you back your shit, and you can be paying as well. I don't know if Africans are taking poor children. Let me just play this, but this is really, really absurd. But this is what was
stolen more than 100 years ago in what is now southern Nigeria. Most of the artifacts removed from the King of Benin's palace ended up in the British Museum. Campaigners have made repeated calls.
You told us we all lived in the trees and we was all dirty. How could you steal it from a palace? You said we all lived in huts and trees. Go ahead.
She meant Cinderella as a palace. She did not mean an African one. Let me play this.
Stolen more than 100 years ago in what is now southern Nigeria. Most of the artifacts removed from the King of Benin's palace ended up in the British Museum. Campaigners have made repeated calls for their return.
I think it's very important that we are straightforward and honest and transparent about the ways in which some of these objects have entered the collection. It's absolutely not the case that everything in the museum's African collections was plundered or looted, or whatever phrase you want to use. But obviously there are certain circumstances or certain events that happen.
All of them was looted, white lady. What are you talking about? All of them. They didn't just say, hey, white people, take all our shit. These white people are psychopaths, family. You need to understand it. These white people are psychopaths. Black people didn't give you their shit, lady. Take our shit, make millions of dollars from it. If you guys ever went in the British Museum, I think I've been there like twice. All that shit is African. There's nothing in the European. And they show you how great they are. If you take all that African shit out of there, it would be no museum.
It would be empty. It would be empty.
Right.
An empty hall with nothing on it, because at the end of the day, you will hear them saying that this was not looted. Not every other item we have here was looted. All of those items were looted, but now they want to loan them.
Exactly, Spike. They were all looted.
give them on a loan. How are you stealing my shit, not giving me back my shit?
That's right.
Now I have to pay you, and you're giving me the terms of how I'm supposed to use it. That is a problem. That is a problem that we do have with
It's crazy. It's beyond crazy.
Today.
Curators from Europe and the United States are negotiating an agreement to set up a permanent exhibition of the bronzes in Nigeria.
While it is true that the British has the highest number of objects, we still have many of these objects in other European museums. So there's need for there to be a concerted effort by all this. And that is what the Benin Dialogue Group is all about.
But it isn't clear whether the Nigerian government will accept a loan offer from the British Museum.
We would, be open to such conversations. So there's just not one track decision as to whether it's going to be a loan or a permanent return. We will
look at the African kid. He says that we are open to such conversations. It doesn't matter whether it's a return.
He sounds like that's how weak he sounds. He sounds weak as shit. And power doesn't respect weakness. Like I will do whatever I can do just to touch my shit that they stole. And if they give it to me as a loan, I'll pay for it. I pay for my own shit that they stole because I'm OJ in Africa.
That is how they did to OJ, like you were saying. They had him talk like this. This is sad and absurd at the same time. But this is a governor. This is a governor of Edo State, which is in the southern of Nigeria. But now they all saying one of the excuses is that there is a country in the larger Nigeria and the Igbo.
Mike, how can we expect you dirty niggas to be responsible for your own shit? How can we expect you to be responsible for your own stuff? What?
This is really, really sad and upset at the same time. But let me finish up.
One track decision as to whether it's going to be a loan or a permanent return. We will be open to having a broad range of discussions on each piece of work.
The oldest of the bronzes were cast in the 1500s. Descendants of the artisans who carved them still practice the craft today.
If really they are bringing it, at least they should exhibit it for people to see it, especially
that's what I'm trying to explain to Joby. This science is all over Africa. We said all the Kenyan artisans. It's not the Kenyan artisans, Joby. It's Africans. Those Africans are all over the continent because they went everywhere. Same people that carved in bronze can carve the same thing in Kenya out of bronze. They can do it from wood, bronze, whatever. That's African.
You remember when we went out with Joby when we were talking about the Kenyan, the artisans around the streets. They have the same kind of. We have seen some of them making sculptures of the elephants. We showed some elephants. We showed some buffalo, and there is everything else. So this was put in the castles. This was put in the African castles in the 1500s. In the 1500s, but when the European came, they could not resist stealing that, and they took it and they plundered everything, especially also from not just from West Africa, but even in Egypt. There was a lot of looting.
Africa, not just West Africa, all of Africa. From what you call Kenya today, Ethiopia today was Abyssinia back then, and Sudan was Ethiopia then, and they plundered everything. Everything.
And someone has a good question. As is asking, you all in the UK, you might be able to tell us why. You say, now, why isn't there any white royalty caskets in their own museums? Because they were all black. They do not have any of those white royal caskets in their own museums. Everything they took that they showcase in those museums is all black. But let me share this a little bit of
all black people shit.
Let me share these what they had to say about the reactions towards the stealing of this.
See an intriguing new exhibit. They came to marvel at the art of an alien culture produced by a supposedly savage people. The very existence of these works of art represented a challenge.
People who they went to the palace. They went to the palace. How do savages have palaces and shit?
You also remember when we were with G-Man in Tanzania, they were making almost similar sculptures, which are really
That's
well
what I'm trying to tell you. I've been on throughout. I'm trying to tell Joby. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Exactly right, Spikes. It's all over Africa. That's what I want you to understand. Not just goddamn Nigeria and Kenya and it's all over. That artisanship was all over Africa.
Yeah. So when they are talking about an alien people considered to be savage, but these people are really wicked. They're saying it was looted from the palaces. They want to make it seem they took it on the street, like they just stumbled into it and just
exactly, Spike.
They kill people to get this stuff. They kill people.
Yes.
Their life.
Yes, they kill people. Yes, they kill people to get it, Spike. Yes.
An empire. The public were fascinated, but also troubled by what they saw. What bothered them was that this was the...
the only thing that actually also bothers them is that you cannot change these cabins and make them into white people. If they would actually do it.
That's right, That's right. That's right.
They wish they would, because they would just put white. They would whitewash everything, but you cannot change these sculptures. Once it's a bronze Benin, there's nothing you can do to it to make it white.
Right.
And if they were able to, if they had a technique of doing it, all of these particular sculptures would have actually been changed into.
You better believe it. They would have been white. They were told there was a white civilization down in that part of Africa now called Nigeria, where white people built these great bronzes and ruled over these dirty niggas. They were told you.
An African society, and almost everybody in the 19th century believed that Africans lacked the technical skills needed to produce great art and the cultural sophistication needed to appreciate it. It was in fact widely believed that the people of the Dark Continent had no history and no culture and were incapable of generating this thing called civilization.
He goes on with his explaining, and it's foolish.
African has no culture, no civilization. It was African that gave civilization and culture to the world. And they keep trying to tell these lies. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it was the African that gave culture and civilization to the world. And they constantly keep lying. We didn't know that the African was cultured and knew all this. You're a motherfucking lie. The African taught you how to read and write, you know, good dirty cracker. What are you talking about? The African that went to Europe taught you how to wash your ass, how to bathe, how to change your clothes, how to eat 3 meals a day. What are you talking about? This is the lie they keep telling, because they're psychopaths.
And even leave alone the fact of our people not being civilized or cultured, because I know art is expensive, and people also need to have, they have to be, let me just call quote unquote sophisticated to be able to also enjoy art, because these bronzes are being made for people, and it means people are able to afford them. It means these particular people that were sculpted, are being paid. You cannot do this work and you're doing it on a voluntary basis. They are being paid to do these sculptures, and there were people who are consuming.
You're the richest people on the planet. I got to tell you, they didn't come to Africa because it was poor. They don't tell you it was poor. How the fuck can it be poor? You got Mansa Musa running around giving gold to all these no good dirty crackers. Africa was never poor.
People are able to consume the art. They were able to not really consume. They were able to afford. They were able to afford these
exactly. It means the civilization to have art. To have art spikes. Art. It means like today, Africa can't really support art because it hasn't money no more. It's been impoverished. Back then, it could afford it because it was rich. Africa was very rich, so you could have an artisanship that would be highly paid to create wonderful art pieces because it was supported by the government and the people because they weren't impoverished. Exactly right, Spike.
I'm just wondering, do you have Chinese looted artifacts? Because I see one of these Chinese on this video, but I'll still play it. because she is asking about the matter of the returning of these stolen objects. But I'm not sure whether we have looted at Chinese artifacts in these European museums. So let me play a little bit of this.
But that's a euphemism. It might be better to call them warehouses of stolen loot. In 1897, the Benin bronzes were stolen from the Benin in modern-day Nigeria by British colonial forces. The looting of Benin City was horrific. British soldiers massacred an unknown number of inhabitants and then thousands of artifacts from the royal palace. Most of the Benin bronzes are museums.
Let me say something. When they came to Africa, they burned all the palaces down to make sure they could put a narrative as Africans living all fucked up. They burnt all African cities down to the ground and then tried to erase them from history. Then all these people were dirty and living in huts and all fucked up. So they burnt all these castles and cities of African people down to the ground, and then lied and say they never existed.
And so what I have seen really is that the narrative. I was just saying, if they were able to whitewash these items, they would. But let me play these.
Stolen from the Kingdom of Benin in modern-day Nigeria by British colonial forces. The looting of Benin City was horrific. British soldiers massacred an unknown number of inhabitants and then stole thousands of artifacts from the royal palace and court. Most of the Benin bronzes are in Western museums and private collections. Hundreds are still on display at the British Museum, even though the Royal Court of Benin would like them back. Between 1950 and 1970, the British Museum actually sold a few pieces back to Nigeria, which is a bit like someone robbing your house and then demanding money for your flat screen TV.
That is exactly what we have been saying. It's like someone stealing from your house.
That's OJ. That's OJ. That's why OJ went to jail, trying to get his own shit back.
But now this is where we also demonstrate how weak we have been as an African people, because we are not getting the respect, but the respect cannot be just given. No one really just respect is
exactly, Spike. Not without force. You're right.
Without power, this will continue. But it's the same kind of situation that the scenario that she says, where someone is robbing your house, and then after that they will come back.
The museum actually sold a few pieces back to Nigeria, which is like someone robbing your house and then
demanding. I hope Joby's around listening, because their moronic cousin said, "Why would the white people came to help us? They came to love us. Well, they blowing up people's villages, killing whole cities, stealing shit. Oh, why would these white people came to love us?"
So, like the Nigerian brother who was saying that as well. The Chinese are here to do business.
It's like the African suffers from mental psychosis, because Africans don't even know this history, Spike. In Nigeria, most of them don't even know this history in Nigeria alone, Spikes. You don't know your own history. It's crazy.
You don't know your stuff has been stolen. You have no your sleep. You're deep asleep. So you have no idea whether your stuff has been stolen.
They did bomb a lot of African cities, gentlemen. They just bomb them. They burned them down to the ground. So they were lying, say there were no cities in Africa. They burned them down to the ground. You got the late. They went to the Benin palace. What palace? They said, how can dirty savages have palaces and shit?
and have art, quote unquote, sophisticated art, because I think some of these pieces are commissioned. Some of these pieces are really done, awesomely, and you cannot have a repeat of this piece done again. It's just one in the world.
Because the Africans become a moron. He's not as intelligent as he was then. No, just had the scientific skills. We're talking about a scientific people, Spikes, who've been put under superstition and nonsense and made into a child. Africa, you come from a brilliant race of people who are now, like I said, morons. You come from a brilliant race of people who are now moronic and scared of their own damn history. Go ahead.
I have seen when we were in Tanzania, and also Jimana can attest, and also Dinka, the rest of the family that was with us in Tanzania, people could even actually carve out, something from a tree, from a stalk of a tree. They could actually the sculpts is being made, like you can now have a whole village made out of that stalk of a tree, and you would see this is really genius. But nonetheless, let me just finish up playing this, and we'll talk about what has been happening.
Demanding money for your flat screen TV. Empires of Dirt, a show about Europeans getting rich at the expense of everyone else. Previously,
I'm glad you showed the Spikes of the Great Britain. You see them now, how they show Australia, South Africa, all the places they gone and stole. They never left Australia. They just killed all the people, all the blacks in Australia and Tasmania. Hell, they never left that place, and they never left South Africa either.
They are there, and they still are doing things and are controlling.
And I tried to tell Joby and her cousin, Joby's cousin, stupid ass, Kenya was supposed to be a white man's country, you dummy. They wanted to do the same thing to Kenya, that region of Africa, that they did to Australia. Because Kenya has wonderful climate that white people love. It's temperate. It's not real hot all the time like a Tanzania, and all that shit. But that's why they say, hey, we're going to murder all these niggas off, and we're going to steal this part of Africa. Go ahead, though.
Let me play this.
And how the tobacco lords of Scotland got rich. Throughout the 19th century, it was fashionable for Europeans to venture around the world and to auction houses in search of cool stuff they could take home with them. People like Augustus Henry Lane Fox, who was born in Yorkshire in 1827. In 1880, his rich relative died, which was a stroke of luck for him. He inherited a ton of money and the Pitt Rivers name and estate. Pitt Rivers had always been a collector and amassed an enormous collection of artifacts over his lifetime. He donated 22,000 of them to set up the Pitt Rivers Museum, which is still standing today.
He was a magnificent collector. I mean, he stole art. They stole. They were great collectors. Collectors? No, they were thieves and robbers. He's no good bastards with thieves and robbers of African people's arts and traditions. But they want to call you savages. This world is upside down and inside out. It's fucking crazy.
This is the way the reporting is done. If at all this was done, on the other hand, for example, it was Africans going into these museums, Africans going into Portugal or Spain and taking and stealing everything, it would not have been reported as collectors. These are not
exactly.
The report is just like the way they do the reporting with, for example, about a white man has has gone and stolen into a store. They will report him as they would say he was actually a small boy who was just lost, and they went into a store and they shot everyone up, and what the reporting is done is really the way they anyhow. Let me just play these and see what
with the problematic history of many of their artifacts. Curators here are working to identify which items should be returned to their countries of origin, and they're trying to decolonize how they present the items that do remain in the collection. One of the most controversial objects are shrunken heads, also known as Shoah Sansas. For decades, museums would display shrunken heads as a way of reinforcing racist ideas about the superiority of white people. Visitors would come and gawp at how supposedly barbaric indigenous cultures were, when in reality they had little understanding of the cultural context of the shrunken heads. They came from Ecuador and Peru and were made of human, monkey, or sloth heads, but they weren't war trophies, as many European collectors mistakenly thought. It's believed that one of the reasons they were made was to capture the power of people's souls to increase future harvests. In 2020, the museum decided to pull the shrunken heads from display because it felt like the way they were being presented reinforced negative stereotypes about indigenous communities. They're still trying to figure out.
Savages.
I'll not share the whole of it, but that's the main goal of really demonizing. Demonizing. They will put out there the heads of these Benin bronzes, and they say, "Oh, look at how these people, look at how backward these people are." But now that is reversed. That is a reverse kind of a thing, because if these people did have their own kind of, they had their own art and they had their own sculptures, and they had their own.
They would display their own shit, exactly, Spikes. They can't.
So how then are they barbaric? How then could they be barbaric?
Exactly, Spikes. Exactly what you're saying, because they can't display British art because they have no art. They didn't have any they don't have any creativity to create shit. So, oh, look at the we collected all these savage people's arts so we can say it because they're nothing but dirty, vicious savages. No good, dirty savage. So, um, it's it's crazy.
There is
It's
there is no way
absurd.
of.
It's absurd. And like you said, and they're unapologetic about how absurd. That's how racist and fucked up these. You're dealing with a psychopath. These people are psychopathic. Shout out to Dr. Mumby. Sorry, didn't think that. His family, they're psychopaths. Yeah, it's stupid. You just. I'm glad you figured it out, finally, Dr. Mumby. You're dealing with a psychopath. Their culture, they're psychopaths. Not like my. And this not me just saying it. That's the study on them. You're dealing with a psychopath. That's what they are. You'll steal your shit and say, well, just like Spikes, like Spikes ain't wicked. Well, Spikes, I came in your house, I stole everything, burnt it down to the ground, and now you got the gall to ask me for your own property back, Spikes? How dare you? How
And
dare you ask me for your own shit? I'll tell you this, Spikes. I will loan you your stuff
you have
at
to pay.
interest.
Yeah.
I will loan it to you at a certain price. And then you're to give everything back to me when I ask for it after you paid to rent it. Like, what? It's so crazy.
Yeah, I was even lacking a word for that. I'm just trying to find a word which describes that particular
It's called evil. It's called evil. That's what it's called. That's the word.
Evil does not even describe the situation where people just come and take your shit. Then you have to pay them money consistently so that you can have you. And they are not even returning it. They will return it as they want. That is
No,
power.
not return. No, they let you borrow your own shit at a price. You can borrow your shit. Like, this your TV. I'll let you use it. I'll let you borrow it, but you gotta pay me. And then when the lease is up, it comes back to me, Spikes.
And also, I have to decide what shows you're watching on that TV. I have to decide which shows on that TV and which shows you will not watch on that TV. It's evil, because for lack of a better word, it's really and there was one university which had some of these Benin bronzes, and they decided to return them. And they what when you return if you have taken someone's property and you return it, the way they were saying it, because this was one of the universities in the UK, the way they were saying it's like they were doing the country a big favor by returning. How are you doing someone a favor by returning their stuff? Now the way they do it, now the way they talk about it, it's like a big favor. That is how we do.
Because I'm a psychopath, Spikes. That's why I explain it. I'm a psychopath. That's why I explain it like that.
Yeah. So that also the falsified sense of identity. They have the identity is really like they have a God complex in some sort of a way. They have a God complex now, even where everyone else is at their mercy, because you will say, I'm going to return it to you, but it's also a big favor. I stole it from you. I killed thousands of your people to take this from you, but I will return it back to you. But it's still really, really a big favor that I'm doing to you, because our museums otherwise would be empty.
Oil and granite. But Aberdeen is now leading the conversation on bronze too. Benin bronzes, to be exact. The university, a 525-year-old institution, values tradition. But it's rethinking what its museum collection should
like. Understand the 500-year tradition. See, that 500 years, this college, right? They didn't have colleges, so that means they let you know the Moors were creating these colleges in Europe to educate this wicked-ass bastard, right? They don't have any colleges before the Moors go into Europe and teach them how to make cotton. Teach them the seven, which you call today the 7 liberal arts, which they call which came out of Africa. 7 liberal arts come out of Africa. This when you get these crackers finally building colleges and shit. This historic college. Oh, you mean your college only 500 years ago? No, you said you guys would learn for thousands of years and shit. How's your college only 500 years ago? What are you talking about? Go ahead,
Yeah,
Spike.
that's a whole big lie. But I was saying the way I do see these Benin bronze, it seems like Maasai, they also some not just the Maasai, but also some other different African communities. They normally use some.
All
and-
African tribes had the technology to make these things. Like
Yeah.
Jim Mosquito said, there was a science and it was deeper meanings. Exactly right, Jim Mosquito. Deep in meanings of the universe behind these artifacts that the African doesn't even know no more because he's a moron. There's deeper meanings behind these artifacts that were interdimensional, carried certain powers if you knew how to interact dimensionally with these artifacts. African was a genius. It's all science, but the African don't know shit about them. Hey, look at this mask, and let me go to church. And these Africans were wicked making these masks. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, we getting them back, but it goes against Jesus, who ain't never existed, and we hate our own people now. You understand this is science, you dummy? That your Africans were geniuses. These things explain interdimensional travel and all other kind of scientific shit. No, you're too dumb now to even know that. White man made you scared. White man made you scared of even being African. Shit's crazy.
Let me play a bit of these.
Becoming the first in the UK to decide it will return its Benin bronze sculpture to Nigeria, a decision that might perhaps shame other museums.
The critical one here was about the circumstances of its history.
And then, Mike, let me say something real quick. Pause that. And then white people become the experts on your shit. Well, this Benin bronze really means that this was this and this how this happened. And they were thinking about this while they were doing it, and that's how it became this sculpture. And the Africans said, what? That's not happening. Shut up, dirty nigga. I now have a degree in Benin's bronzes given to by the Oxford University. I am now the expert on your shit. Go ahead.
It doesn't. And I was saying that this is both sad and absurd because now they have the degrees on Benin bronzes and but the problem is, I think we as a people are also to blame because if you go back the same Nigerian youth, go to a youth from Benin, or no, not really Benin, but
you have no idea what you're talking about.
No one has no idea. They would say, "Tell me more, master. Tell me more about these Benin bronzes. How what?"
You have no idea what you're talking about. Spikey say, "No, tell me about Jesus. Tell me about Jesus or Allah." That ain't got nothing. Them stats, them mass are wicked because they had nothing to do with Jesus, Spikes. They go against the Lord and Jesus. Get away from me with that wicked mask.
It cannot get worse. It cannot get worse than this situation. Right here, it's actually torture. When you can't of the whole story.
Spikes has hit it on the head. It's absurd and crazy at the same time.
So now they will make a special class. They will make a special class in Aberdeen University or whatever other university they have these looting these items. Now they will teach you, then you have to pay. You have to pay a big sum of money to go and learn how these African bronzes were being made and what they mean and why they are there. My family almost are waking up. I do not have words. Until Africa learn to yield power, until African people learn to yield power, then these would be
exactly right, Spike. It's absurd. We've been. It breaks my heart. It's sad. We can laugh. It's funny, but it's also, like you said, it's absurd and sad too because this is how far we've fallen as a people. It is crazy. People, it's crazy, and then we run away from being African. I always say, damn, it's just that we're asleep and. Man, why do we go to sleep with such wicked ass people around?
but also, where are their sculptures in these museums? Where are their sophisticated?
They don't got none. They don't got none.
They have none of those.
No,
and
all the ancient sculptures, Spikes. Remember, all the ancient sculptures. They talking about, oh, this was us back in ancient times. Those are all forgeries that they just made 100 years ago. They were lying. These motherfuckers always make up lies and. These are sculptures back from ancient Greece, and they do carbon dating on it. the damn sculpture is 60 years old. I said from ancient Greece. Just make it just white. The thing for them is to dominate and have white supremacy and lie.
I have had. There was I was listening. I don't know. That was what was it? I think that was a documentary where I was seeing that you can actually fake and make a recent sculpture look like it was old. There's a process where
yes, exactly. Because they want to say they were ruling the ancient times and they were not. Look at this. These are all our sculptures from over 2,000. You can't find no cracker sculpture from 2,000 years ago. But that's them lie. Look at this sculpture from 2,000 years ago when we ruled these places and blah blah blah. Then when you do carbon dating spikes, the shit is 60 years old.
I believe some Egyptians. I think the documentary I was watching on was about some Egyptians or some guys from Turkey, and they know exactly how to fake a piece and make it seem as if it was like from hundreds of years ago. They just made it yesterday, because there's a process which they fake it, and they now they can be able now to go back and also overprice it.
Yeah, it's a process, but then you just do the carbon dating. If you last one said, okay, let me take a piece and do the carbon dating. The carbon date never lies. Hey, this thing ain't nothing but 70 years ago. This ain't no ancient shit they talking about. This lies on top of lies. We dealing with a psychopath. We just don't understand how wicked and fucked up these people are.
But even if you're telling them that it's a lie, they will still find a way of coming around and say, no, it's not a lie. We told you it's not a lie, and it's anyhow. It's like psychopaths. But let me finish up in this, and we will wind up.
It was stolen. It was looted. Therefore, in essence, it was stolen property that should not be the property of the university.
The sculpture depicts an oba or a king. It was part of a collection of thousands of objects brought back to the UK.
This also looks to me like what we have the Buddhas. Although these are not the Buddhas, but you might see a bit of a resemblance.
It's the same culture, Spike, because the Buddha, all that part of Asia back then was what? Black people, Spikes. It was all black people. It wasn't these Asians you see today. Those are all African lands. As I showed you, explained you, those are African. The Buddha was an African. He wasn't a damn Asian or an East Indian. He was East Indian. He was not. He was African. Yeah. Everybody knows that, but that's the lie. The Buddha was considered a Christ. Christ meant vibration.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that they named his fake Jesus like Christ. That's not his last name. His last name wasn't Christ. Christ was a vibrational level that you reach, that now you're enlightened, spiritually enlightened. That's why Buddha was a Christ. He really lived, but the Jesus person didn't. But the Buddha lived supposedly 300 years before Jesus. Buddha was a Christ, and so was Hare Krishna, and the Hare Krishna. He was a Christ out of India. Hare Krishna. Look up Hare Krishna. That's another word for Christ. They were all these Christ. It's Indian. It comes out of India. Hare Krishna. Well, I think it comes out of India. I mean, India, but Iran, which is an African culture. Persian.
It's a Hinduism. It's a deity.
Hare Krishna. So, but if you look at him, he's a black blue. Put up images of Hare Krishna. You see he's black.
No,
make him black blue.
Put up images. I cannot get a second. The first name, is it Hari? H? Is it H?
Hare. I don't know. Hare Krishna. But you just pulled it up. You got it. Hare Krishna. Krishna meant Christ. The Christ. Hare the Christ. I don't understand. I don't know how to speak Indian. Goddamn it! I don't speak that Hindu shit.
Oh yeah, it's H-A-R-E. I found it. It's H-A-R-E. It's H-A-R-E. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That Christ. He's Christ. That was the way they pronounced it for Hindu. Krishna. Christ. And these, so when you don't know history, and say, oh, Jesus was the Christ. He wasn't even the first Christ. What are you talking about? They don't know. They think that's his last name. That's not the last name. That's a frequency. Christ is a frequency. That's why Buddha was a Christ.
See, this is the one I see for Hare Krishnas divided whether to allow Let me see. That's what I what? That's
Those
what
fools that always walking, ringing bells, ringing bells, chanting Hare Krishna. Yeah, that's them. That's them, Jim Mosquito, ringing the bells and walking Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
That would be interesting. If I was to find myself anywhere where there would be really, really distressing, just like you have the most.
Mike's is so impatient. Everybody, they would bother the hell out of Spike. They said,
No, the
peace,
thing
brother.
is,
They said, peace be unto you, brother Spikes. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Spike's like, hey, I'm out of here. Goodbye.
The thing is also with the most, you go to some places, especially the coastal towns, and you do find like every other time there is now the announcement with the prayer times. Now like they have what do you call it, the public, it's like a public service announcement. It's like it's an announcement area. Other like 3, there are some prayers for 3, some prayers for 1, there's some prayers for 5, and now they keep on. Maybe it's closer to your house where you stay. Like in Tanzania, we would hear some of those in Tanzania when we were in Tanzania. Every other time, the Muslims.
Yeah, that's the Muslim. The Muslim calls it. They're knowing Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar.
And you cannot even take anymore. You cannot sleep.
Because it's religious nonsense. It's not nothing to do with the God of the all. It's all religious, fucking superstitious gobbledygook. It's like idiotic.
But they
it becomes part of the culture then. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. God damn, I'm trying to sleep. Would you shut the fuck up?
Let me finish this.
After being looted from Benin City in 1897. These were sacred items taken in a brutal.
That was in 1897 when these pieces were taken, and it was brutal. They did not take it like knock on your door and just say, "Can we have that? Can you have this?" This was brutal. People being killed, hundreds of people being killed.
These were sacred items taken in a brutal, bloody, and violent manner by British forces overthrowing the Oba of Benin City. Here's a young David Attenborough explaining.
The victors posed for their photographs in the palace courtyards. Stacked behind them, objects from the palace shrines that they were to bring back to Britain.
The sculpture in Aberdeen was bought for £750 from a private collector at an auction in 1957. That these objects were taken in an act of colonial plunder is fact, but a fierce debate remains about what that means for museums.
There must be other items in your collection that were acquired through looting or violence. Are you considering those too?
There probably are. I mean, it's a very large collection. We've got to look really carefully at all the different objects, all their histories, to work out which ones are appropriate and which ones are not.
Are you worried about being seen as radical by the government?
I don't think I think this is about truth. I mean, we're doing it because it's the right thing to do. I mean, and that really is the end of the decision.
In Nigeria, a new Edo Museum of West African art is planned. They hope to recover Benin bronzes around the world and display them.
But the thing is, I'm even surprised that these Crocker is talking about, it's the right thing to do. They know the right thing to do, but they'll not do it. They do not have a sympathy or empathy.
Did you hear him say the government? How would you feel the government's not happy about you doing this? Yes, but it's the right thing to do. Exactly, they're wicked. How's the government feel about you doing this? He said it's the right thing to do. White people don't do the right thing to do. They do what gives them power. Buck was right.
And I'm also surprised that they do say that we are doing this because they do not have empathy. They are just maniacs, and you have sympathy with that. But nonetheless, our family, we almost are winding up. General Muski, you say now, was that a black man I saw in the bridge with the bridge? Yes, I also did see that, and it's shameful because we did have sellouts even from day one. It was actually a black man. I just saw him. Idea.
Always have coons and sellouts. That's been our problem through history, Spike. Our problem.
I'm saying the same thing that they for example, in Nigeria,
we're the only people that never, because we're the only people that never dealt with our traders. That's the problem.
you could see him posting there very, very proud. And, you know, he can see the looting has been done and he is there. He is sitting with them. And now he knows he's part of the, he's a friend of the masters, but they'll also go kill him. I don't think he might have even made it to the UK. I don't think they went back with him to wherever they were going, but they probably just killed him. But yes, the traitors, that was one of the traitors. Let me just even share that a little bit over that so that you can see it before you wind up as well. Let me just share one more time the guy that you're talking about, General Mosquito. Let me share these. Where is he? Okay.
The victors posed for their photographs in the palace courtyard.
This is who you're talking about. On these are on the cursor. I don't know if you can see the cursor on my end. This is whom you're talking about. The rest of these are all crackers, and then we now have these. I suppose he was also a Nigerian. He was also an African, and he was there posing with them, feeling like helping them do the looting. So that is why I think that is why even we would not have the return of this, because you know some of the people that were helping us loot were your own people. So why are we even giving you back these? Why are you returning these to you? It doesn't make any sense, because they were also we did have also traitors like these whose minds were corrupted, and they were very, very much involved with the loot. And like Keith says, we are the only people in the world that have not dealt with our own traitors. You know, there should have been people coming to see them, and there should have been a way of making sure that there are consequences of actually doing whatever he was doing right there. But nonetheless, our family, we are waiting up. And now, of course, this is a Blackwood Fire Talk, media for the 21st century. For everyone that has been with us on the broadcast, we truly love and appreciate you. In case you would like to
meet me in the test thing.
Test stream.
Yeah,
okay.
Afterwards.
Let me find you on the test stream. Samuel, thank you so much. Also, Kida, thank you so much for giving us this platform. General Mosquito, all the way from the UK. I think General Mosquito knows he has seen some of these pieces. Personally, I have not seen them anywhere. The very first time we were, was it last year, but what? We went to the museum in Nairobi, and there are some of these sculptures that are there in Nairobi, in the Nairobi Museum, which is known as the National Archives. But they are also impressive. Some of them, I believe, also are from outside the country. I have seen some of them, but I do believe the ones that we are talking about, the Benin bronzes, I do bet that General Mosquito has seen some of those. Nonetheless, family, we want to wind up, and I want to thank everyone once again. In case you haven't joined us on our WhatsApp group, make sure that you do. We'll try to share the link with us so that you are also able to find us very, very easily. And also, we want to welcome you to check out the website. It has been revamped. So next weekend, also on other different occasions, you shall be doing the shows. We are hoping that you shall be doing the shows on the network. So in case you haven't created
I got to show. That's right. I got to show you how to do it, so you'll start doing shows on the network.
Yeah. So for the family that has not made a profile on the network, please make sure to do so. Just head over to theblackwoodfinancial.com, and once you are on there, please click on the please register, which is really on the show page, or just click on the show page and then just click on the please register, and then from there you can be able to create your own profile with your own name and maybe your own password, and we shall be doing shows on that particular platform as well. On Fridays, we purpose that on Fridays the shows will actually be on the network website, but till then, much peace and love. I want to wish you a happy and a productive remaining part of the day. Spikes first show on the network. Sorry, what? Spikes the first show on the network. No, yeah, I haven't done a live stream on the network, but I will be doing that on Friday. So thank you so much, General Mosquito, and also Brother Samuel, and also Kid, and everyone else that was with us on this podcast, and also Brother Richard Campbell. Thank you so much. Peace to you. We hope that you have a wonderful, and a productive day ahead.
You don't cut him out for 900. You make a boy sit down and the boy will love. Not in my eyes, you mouth, you don't tell her. I ain't that cause I be your umbrella. I thought you in this girl. Give you my necklace, baby. Give you my last card, baby. I show you my best friend, baby. I thought you in this girl. Give you my necklace, baby. Show you my best friend, I give you my last card, spend down. Everything I do, I under, under 50, under. You know me, under, 50, understand. Nothing where you do me, under, 50, understand. All of my fans are busy violent. I don't mind, I pick it content. I don't fight the uniform, man. Oluwa can we fix the problem? Thunder, fire, that is where they give it to make you leave me. Thunder, fire, that your reason. I thought we in this together. Give you my necklace, better. Give you my last cash, better. I show you my best friend. I thought we in this together. Give you my necklace, pendant. Show you my best friend. I give you my last card, pendant. Everything I do, I under 50, under. You know me, under 50, understand. Nothing where you do, I under 50, understand. Under 50, understand.